Man, I love a jib sometimes. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about the Kessler Pocket Jib Pro. All right, there are just some jobs out there that call for a jib. The gimbal's not quite smooth or quite fluid enough for you, and it doesn't make any sense to get a drone to get those shots. And in those situations, you are going to need to get a jib, especially if you're kind of starting to tip the scales and starting to get a little of those higher end clients. And today what I want to do was to show you a jib that I've come across a lot in my kind of medium level production work that I think has been really, really helpful. And it is the Kessler Pocket Jib Pro. It's a really interesting jib. It definitely fills a very specific niche. And what I want to do today is show you how to put one together and kind of tell you what works so you can make a decision if this is a tool that you might want on some of your future production needs. So let's go ahead, let's check it out, put this sucker together. Okay, so I'm outside now with the Kessler Pocket Jib Pro, and I'm starting to feel a couple of raindrops. I want to do it before I destroy the equipment. So let's see how fast we can put this thing together. Now, what I want to do is just show you what to expect when you work with this project and how you can make it utilized for you. Now, I did get this from lensrental.com. That's where I get most of my rental equipment. I'm not sponsored by them in any way to say this. This is just who I use to do it. They always give me good equipment and they get good rates. So first thing I want you to notice is that it does come in a bag here that's pretty easy. But as you'll notice, this thing is pretty hefty. I would say you are not going to be going to the airport and flying with this type of jib. This is not a travel jib. Now, if you are driving and need to put this in a vehicle or a grip truck, a car, you can even do that, get away with it pretty easy, but it's definitely not a travel jib. This is something that's pretty sturdy. You'll need some regular transportation to get it. The other thing that you're gonna need is you're gonna need to get a tripod that's got a bowl mount on it. Now I have my Manfrotto 535 here. It has a 75mm bowl, and that's what I'm gonna use. So let's go ahead, take this puppy and put this on there. Okay, so what you're gonna do here, this is actually a ball head that comes with the Jib Pro that you have there. And it's important to remember two things. Now, I told you I'm on a 75mm ball head, so it's actually got two little 75mm bowls. Now, there is a 100mm adapter in there too if you have a bigger tripod to have that, just so you know. But I have 75mm, so that's what I'm gonna do. So the first thing I'm gonna do is put the first one in there like that. I'm just gonna come over here. I'm gonna slip that in my ball head, take my second one, put it down in there, right? And then I'm just going to screw this on. And I'm gonna probably speed this up because this always takes a long time. Okay, so there you go. So as you can see now, we're on our set of sticks here. And the good thing is because it's a ball head, you know, if you need to get your position angle just a little bit, you can. Now, a couple things about this little Kessler head here is one, it's got a pan lock right here, so you can lock the pan. I'm going to lock the pan just to make my life a little easier. And it's got two 1/4-inch threaded screws right here that are going to come in very important, because if you look here, on the bottom of our Jib Pro, we have a couple of mounting holes, and you can see the two diagonals right there. These diagonals right here and right here, that is what I'm going to use to get this on. So let me throw that on there. Come on, okay, good. All right, so you can see that I'm on there now. This is a little bit easier to do with two people. It's just me by myself, but hey, you get the point. So now that I got it on there, I got the screws. I want to make sure I secure the screws. Let me lock this down a little bit. And you basically have these two little mounting screws from Kessler. Pretty simple. Most Kessler stuff's pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. I'm just going to screw these on. So let me get these screwed on here and secure the jib. Okay, so there you go. So now our jib is on there. It is secured. Now, if you look right here, let me really secure my ball head now. There you go, much better. Make sure my legs are in good shape. Okay. Now, and I'll be honest, guys, this is just for display purpose. I actually have a thicker pair of legs I would usually use for this. These legs may be a little bit light for this, but we're just gonna run with the devil, try and beat the rain and get away with it. You okay with that? Good, okay. All right, so now that I'm here and got my jib up, the first thing I wanna do is, if you look here, there's a lever right here on the side that allows me to control and lock my level on my jib. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock that in and get that in tight. Now, the next thing I wanna do, I'm gonna take and start extending the jib and start making it work for us. So if you look here, it's got these little jibs and the things. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen back here, and what you're gonna see here, as I loosen this up, I can kind of make sure everything's nice and loose. You can see I have bars for my weights. And of course, if you know anything about a jib, you will know now that these weights are critical for what we need. So I'm just gonna loosen this up, pull this out all the way, loosen this up, pull this out of the way. This flips open like this. I'm gonna tighten that up, okay? And then I'm just basically gonna put my bars on there right away. So boom, lock that in, and we are in good shape. Now, if you look here, loosen up my pan now, we can also see here, we have 2 more screws right here and right here. We need to get these so we can extend out our jib and get the height that we want so we actually have a good jib shot. So let's go ahead and extend those out here. All right. And then once it's loosened up, you'll see the jib come out. Now, there are locks here. You could do a little bit shorter one, but I'm kind of like, I want to use the whole length of the jib. That's why I got it. Lock everything down. Bring this all the way forward here. Okay, so now that we've got this thing extended out, let's go ahead. I want to point out one thing that's really important as you're getting this done, and that is back here for the weight system. You can actually see these weights they have 2 bars here, and the key thing is this. Look at that. And the key thing is this. They actually go together and form one unit with a hole in there that you can lock in there. So that's going to be very important for getting our counterweights up there. So let's go ahead, get the bars in there, right? I'm going to put that in there. Put this one in here like this. All right, we're going to put that in. Slip them together. Make sure that the hole lines up. There's daylight. Once I feel good with that, I'm going to lock this in like that. Maybe scoot it over just a little bit more. And I'll kind of roll around with that. So now this thing's together. Last thing I'm going to do, I've got a pin right here that comes with it. Slide that pin in. It's good, it's safe, and it is secured. So now that we got that there, I'm going to go ahead and just lock this down a little bit. All right, good. And now I'm going to start off. This is kind of one way I always say. I'll just start off with a little counterweight on the back, because now I'm going to start adding certain things to there. So I'm just going to put a counterweight just to make my life easier. Now, I have my ball head that goes on my normal tripod. So let's go ahead and bring this around here. So if I have here, I can just bring this in here. There you go. I'll bring it on in. And I'll just get this on. Now, I'll probably speed this up because this always takes forever. Okay. Now we got the ball head on there. Now once again, we can rotate and adjust our ball head to make sure it's balanced like that we need to. Okay. And now, because we're going for it, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put another little bit of weight there on the back. Just to go. Now, it's a little back heavy, but I got a pretty camera light set up today just for camera purposes or the demonstration purposes, but let's go ahead and throw that on there. Yeah, it's a normal thing. Slip it on there like you would any other tripod. And boom, there we go. Now, I'm going to unlock everything. And as you can see, it's falling. It's still too front heavy, so I need to put a little more weight here on the back. So let me take another weight. And usually when I do this, guys, I'll be honest, I usually have an assistant with me, helping me, handing me weights, doing stuff. It goes a little smoother, but I did want to show you could do this on your own. Now, let me see what I got there. Boom, that is a balanced jib. That is exactly what you're going to see how the jib stays completely in one position no matter what, that tells me, no hands, nothing, the jib is perfectly balanced. So now that I got it balanced, I'm gonna take these clips here, right here. I'm gonna slip this clip on right here. All right, and now that I have the jib together, you can see just how absolutely smooth and buttery this sucker is. And one thing I always like to say when you're working with a jib, now that it's gotten together, you can see it's not that hard to get together. If you have two people, it's actually very, very easy, which is why I think it deserves the qualification of pocket jib. Now, a couple quick notes about this jib. Once you put this weight together and it's locked down the back, this sucker is so smooth. I always say this about a jib, and it's starting to rain, so I'm gonna go super fast here, guys. You should always be able to operate your jib, I say, with one finger. You see how it's perfectly balanced now? Now, just one finger. I can move and operate my jib. And that's really the key. And I just love how buttery smooth this is. I mean, the one thing about Kessler, their products are expensive, but they are really well made. And there's one thing, once you get this thing balanced, it is just a really, really smooth, buttery feeling. That's the only way I can describe it. This is a buttery jib once you get it going. It's not the highest jib, but it does let you get enough of those shots to do it. And I think that's really the key, is that nowadays with jibs, I do believe that 80% of the shots I would traditionally get on a jib, I can actually put a gimbal on a monopod and pull off quick. But there's certain times when you need higher end commercial productions that you need that super smooth, look at that, professional shot that you can get from a jib. You cannot get anything this smooth on a gimbal. I mean, this is just, especially if you need something that needs to be in real time where you can't cheat and slow it down. So that's really where I'd say the pocket jib, if you're considering this for production, is going to come in. If you have a client that maybe has a little bit more money and you can rent this, it's not that expensive to rent. I'll show you the price right here. It could be something that could really, really help your production achieve that next level of production for your client, and honestly, just to help you start reaching that next plateau. Because gimbals are great, but they're not great for everything. And sometimes, like I said, you just need the smoothness and the professionalism that comes from a jib. Also, some of you may be out there thinking, why can't I just use a drone? Well, you can use a drone. I use a drone a lot as a jib, but at the end of the day, if you have clients and stuff and you're near them, you're not gonna fly a drone, hopefully near a professional client, right above their head to get that jib shot. That just doesn't look very good. It's not very safe either, and the FAA would frown upon you for doing that. So this is basically what the Kessler Jib Pro is. Hope it was helpful. Hopefully this helped you if you're thinking about getting something like this for future production. But anyway, leave me any comments if you have any questions down below. I hope that helped. Yeah, get out there, guys. Keep on shooting, and I'll talk to you soon.